Hey, this is Madalyn Sklar, host of the Twitter Smarter podcast, and you're listening to the Social Media Talks podcast with Alan Hennessy of Compass Media.
Welcome to Social Media Talks podcasts, brought to you by compassmedia.ie.
Hello and thank you for joining me. This is the Social Media Talks podcast, brought to you by compassmedia.ie. I'm your host, Alan Hennessy, and this is the podcast to help business owners who want to learn more about social media marketing. And if you'd like to listen to any of our podcasts, you can visit our website at www.compassmedia.ie/Social Media Talks podcasts. We are looking forward to today's show. I'm going to be joined by Madalyn Sklar, who is a marketing and branding expert with over 21 years experience helping businesses exponentially grow their brands in an authentic and impactful way. She's ranked #1 social media influencer in Houston, which is the fourth largest city in the United States. And Madalyn is a real force to be reckoned with. She's also the host of #TwitterSmart, Twitter Chat and podcast, and her weekly #social ROI chat, and she creates blogs. She also speaks and teaches courses at madalynsklar.com. So without a further ado, I think we will transition straight over to the interview. Hi Madalyn, how are you today? Great to have you on the show.
Thank you, Alan. I appreciate you inviting me to come on to Social Media Talks.
Oh, we're delighted to have you on. It's an absolute pleasure to have you, and we're going to learn so much. So maybe you might tell our listeners first off who you are. I've given them a little background, so you might fill in the details, I suppose, for us today.
Sure. Well, I'm a speaker, I'm a podcaster, a marketing and branding evangelist with 21 years of experience helping businesses really grow their brand exponentially. And I try to help them do this in an authentic and impactful way. I just love educating people. I have Twitter chats where every week I help people understand, like my Twitter Smarter, helping them better understand how to utilize the platform. I have a podcast also called Twitter Smarter. I'm really big on branding things. So I really taken over this Twitter Smarter hashtag and claim stake to it. So that's what I love to do. I love to just help people.
Amazing. And of course, we're going to talk really today about Twitter, because, you know, a lot of people are asking questions at the moment about Twitter. How big is it? Is it as good as what it used to be? Or what? I don't think it's lost any of its magic. It's a fantastic way to get in front of your customers, or even get in front of people that you want to connect with. So I think it's really imperative that you embrace the platform itself.
I completely agree. You know, there have been people being negative towards Twitter, saying that it's dying, you know, it needs to be bought, all these things that really we've seen it thrive. It doesn't have to be as big as Facebook. It's not going to be Facebook. There's so many comparisons to other social media. You know, they're all different in their own ways. But what makes Twitter so great is that it's a unique platform to connect with people in a way that's so different from others. I mean, I could not go to your Facebook as someone who's unknown and expect you to friend me. But if I go over to your Twitter and jump into a conversation with you, I have a much better chance of having that connection where that could lead to working together, doing things together, where I just wouldn't have that opportunity on these other social platforms. So I see it as a big plus for connecting and engaging with people and doing it in real time as well. I mean, I could have a conversation in real time on there that is just something I just can't do on these other platforms.
And I agree totally. And like that, it's similar to our situation here, where we met on Twitter, and we connected on Twitter, and, you know, I started following you and being engaged. Like, as you know, as I always say, I would have never ever met you if it hadn't have been for the power of Twitter, where it just connects so many people. And as we always say, you know, geography is history now, today. Yes. So really, it's fantastic to be able to do that. The next question I would ask, how do we actually start out on Twitter? If you're new to it, how should people go about it?
It's such a great question. You know, the first thing I would do on Twitter is to first look at your profile before you jump on and start talking to people. people, look at how you're being perceived, how you're going to be seen on there. You want to have a great profile picture that's a good headshot of you, if it's for your personal brand, if it's for your business, to be your logo. But looking at personal brand, it should be a headshot that's current. So it should be something where I would recognize you. So if I'm at a conference, Alan, I want to be able to recognize you from that photo. That's really important. And then a really good bio that is compelling and draws me in, because once I start tweeting, people are going to go look at my profile and they're going to say, well, who is this Madalyn Sklar? Why should I listen to her? And I want my bio to be impactful. I want to draw them in. I want them to be compelled to want to follow me and listen to me. So it's really important to look at this. On our bio, we get 160 characters. So we get a little bit more than a tweet. And I always say, utilize as much of that as you can, because, we don't want to put a little one-liner or something that's cutesy. We want to put a real, nice 160 character reflection of who we are and what we're doing. And we can always change it. It's not permanent. At any time, I can change it, and it changes in real time. So maybe I'm going to be speaking at a conference in the next few weeks. Maybe I want to adjust my bio temporarily to put in there that I'm speaking at and put the hashtag for that conference. And then afterwards, I could put it back to whatever it was I had. So you could really adjust this as you go. I always say to audit your profile every 3 to 6 months anyway. You should always be reviewing it. But this is really the first thing you want to do, is have a great profile that's really reflective of you today. So that way you get out there and you start tweeting, people can learn all about you.
With regards, I suppose, with saying that with your bio, would you suggest to people to maybe use keywords that they're going to be searching for?
Yeah, you can definitely do keywords in there. You want to really think about, what it is you're trying to say. What is it that who you are, what you do. Like, let me read off mine to give off an idea of like a good way to do this. So mine says, ranked #1, Houston social media. I mean, those are keywords right there, but I want to let people know that, hey, this is a pretty amazing thing that I've been ranked #1. I want to make sure that's the first thing people see. Then I say, host of the Hootsuite Chat Thursdays, 1 p.m. Eastern, and podcasts. And then I put a link to the podcast. I find that a lot of people don't realize they can do this. So in your bio, in your profile, you have a place to put your .com, your website, and you definitely want to put your main website. So like for me, I have my MadalynSklar.com. But in the bio, I can put a link to anything I want in there. I've seen people do this for YouTube videos. I've seen musicians do a link to their SoundCloud. There's a lot you could do with this. Well, for me as a podcaster, I want to make sure people go over to that link. And so I link iTunes, and I do a bit.ly link, which is a way to shorten the link.
Of course.
So this works out really well to fit that in there. And it still gives me room to put that I'm the host of the Social ROI Chat. And I had a little bit of room left over. So I put, I love hustle. And for love, I used a heart, because emojis are always fun. And so this makes for an interesting bio. I see that people get interested in me from that. They tell me that helps to draw them in, but I can certainly go in and change it at any given time. So you definitely want to look at having something that will wow people.
And that's fantastic, because I've often thought myself, like, is that the right bio for what I'm saying? And I have tweaked it. I've tweaked it every now and then and say, okay, right, we'll move in, we'll put in a hashtag here. Or as you say, if you're at a conference, that you put in the hashtag as well.
Right.
So it means then as well, so anyone that's searching, you're obviously, your name is going to come up, or your Twitter handle is going to come up in that search as well, which is another way. And I suppose it leads into the next question is how do people connect with people? Or is there a strategy, or what is probably the best way to start connecting with other people, or like-minded people, I suppose, as well, that you're interested in?
And that's the key word right there, like-minded people, because, there's over 300 million people active on Twitter. A lot of people, and there's a lot of noise that goes with it. So to find like-minded people, I always recommend Twitter chats, because it's going to revolve around a topic of interest. So an example would be my Twitter Smarter chat that I actually just had today. So I bring people together every week to talk about and share Twitter tips. So if you want to learn more about Twitter, or maybe a lot about Twitter, and there's two sides to this with a chat. You could share your expert advice, or you could sit there and take notes and learn from it. And so I host this every week as a way to bring like-minded people people together. And what's interesting, Alan, is that when you talk to people about Twitter chats and why they like them, and I polled people asking them this, so many times, I would say about 9 out of 10 times, they're going to say it was about connecting with like-minded people. I just want to be around people that are wanting to learn the same things as me or talk about the same things as me. And so that's what makes these so great, is doing that. So that, I think, is one of the best ways to connect with people. Another way is to start Twitter lists and building a list of people that you want to follow and watch and keep tabs on. So for example, let's say in your business, you've got a lot of competitors out on Twitter. You could start a list and call it competitors and make it private, so it's for your eyes only, and put all the competitors in there. And then every day when you go on Twitter, pull up that list and it's going to show all their tweets. So you can very quickly and easily go see what are they talking about, what is happening, and it's a great way to stay in touch of what's going on. But also on the flip side, you could just build one of the top industry leaders in your industry or your niche, put them all in there and use it as a way to see what is being talked about in your industry. This is just one way of utilizing Twitter lists and using it as a way to stay connected with people.
And like them Twitter lists, I find them fantastic. They really are, because, you know, as you say, you can watch what your competitors are doing and learn from them. And then as well as that, if really when you're looking at your home feed on Twitter, it's just so fast and there's so much. And if you're following a huge amount of people, you know, it's going to be very hard to, even if someone retweets you and say, well, where is that gone? Because it moves so fast. So having a Twitter list can really, really, you know, it narrows that down and you're able to say, right, okay, now I can watch what people are doing on this, and they are the important people that I want to be looking at, or as you say yourself, like-minded people. So it really is, I think Twitter lists is probably the greatest invention ever.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's a great feature, and I'm always surprised when I talk to somebody that tells me they don't use it. It's like, how are you not using this? It is such a great way to stay organized, because you're so right. When you go to the home feed, if you follow a lot of people back, I follow a lot of people back that follow me, it becomes a lot to look at. And not to say that I don't ever look at the home feed, but there are many times where I really just want to hone in on something very specific, and I can make it anything I want. I could be very generic, very general, or I could go very, very niche with who I'm looking at. Like say, for instance, I want to just keep tabs on speakers at an upcoming conference. I can make a list of those speakers, and that's very, very niche. So there's a lot you could do with lists, and it's really to help you stay organized.
That's, you know, it is, they are amazing. They are probably, as I said, you know, they're really good to have. And the more people use these, the more they start to see the benefits. And it's really easy to set them up. We were looking at it the other day with a particular bunch of people that we were training with, and like that, they said, oh my gosh, they just couldn't believe that they could do this. And we were saying, so like, that's the beauty, I suppose, as well, where, you know, a lot of people will think that just Twitter is just 140 characters. But when you start looking at what Twitter actually can do, I think it really, really does. It shows the power of what it is. And I think it shows the power over a lot of the other social media networks, because it's so fast moving, but it's also, you can, as you said earlier on, you can get in front of people that you want to see, you want to talk. Whereas you said with, you know, the types of, say, Facebook, where people have to like you, or if you're on LinkedIn, you have to connect with them. Here on Twitter, you can get them straight away in front of you.
Yeah, and that's definitely one of the big benefits to that with Twitter, for sure.
And the next question that I would say is there certain tools that you would use for Twitter? You know, is there any tools that will make the job easier? Because we know that, you know, a lot of businesses and a lot of people, they're very busy in their own lives and they haven't got time to be sitting in front, not like us where we have the luxury because that's what we do, but there's other businesses out there that want to use it but are looking for tools that will help them.
Absolutely. There are so many tools out there. Seems like there's a new one cropping up each week. There are plenty of tools that will help you manage your time, do what I like to say, my motto, work smarter, not harder. Some of my favorite are Hootsuite and Buffer. Those are great for scheduling. Hootsuite is also great for just listening. So when you're new on Twitter, we talked about having a good profile, having a good bio, you then want to just get on Twitter and just listen to conversations. So one thing I love about Hootsuite is that when I go set up my different lists, I can then pull them up into Hootsuite, and with Hootsuite you have columns. So I could pull up maybe 3 or 4 columns of my Twitter Twitter lists and very quickly and easily see what is happening in each one. Just takes like 30 seconds and I'm going to have a really good handle on what's going on in the universe through Twitter. So I love that. So it gives me some ideas of what to respond to, what's the conversation. So that's been really, really helpful.
I think Managed Flitter is a very good one as well.
Managed Flitter, oh my gosh, I love Managed Flitter. Yeah, Managed Flitter is a great tool. Again, going back to work smarter, not harder. It's a third-party app that will allow you to do things on Twitter like set up some lists of very specific, like doing like these really honed-in searches. Like let's say I want to search for people that follow Social Media Examiner's Twitter, but they need to have at least 50,000 Twitter followers in their profile. I mean, you can like really make these interesting parameters of what you're specifically looking for, and it will go and find that, which is really interesting. So you can make these lists and save them and keep an eye out for very specific groups of people that maybe you want to go follow on Twitter. It's also a great tool for scheduling, very similar to Hootsuite and Buffer. You can schedule. You can also unfollow people. So there's been strategies where people will follow people, and if they don't follow back in a certain period of time, then they're going to go unfollow you. And some people really like this way of building up their followers. So it's follow, stop for a few days, and if people don't follow back, then they unfollow. And a tool like Managed Flitter makes it super easy to go unfollow people. So that's a good tool for that. There's also a tool called Social Jukebox, and this is a tool for your evergreen content. So let's say, for example, I want to put out some tweets to promote my podcast. Now, this is something that I want to do regularly. So every time I have a new episode, I put the show notes together, and then I have to manually tweet it out or go put it into Buffer or Hootsuite and schedule it. It's a one-time schedule. So if I put it into my Social Jukebox, I could have it run regularly where it'll just keep tweeting. I can put a whole bunch of tweets in there and say, okay, I want you to just twice a day. So basically I'm going to like label it. So let's say I label this as my podcast. I put a bunch of tweets in there of all my past episodes and maybe some quotes from guests. So I put a whole bunch of tweets in there, and then I put a schedule and I say, okay, I want 2 tweets a day to go out, one at 10 a.m. and one at 2 p.m. And that's it. I'm done. It's going to run on autopilot. So now all those tweets will just run through, and then once they're done, it'll start back over. But if I have, say, 100 tweets and it's 2 a day, you can do the math. I've got a lot that's just going to keep running. And I don't have to do anything. I put that tweet in one time. I see it as evergreen because it really doesn't expire. It's a tweet that's good today, tomorrow, even 3 or 6 months from now. So I love this tool to promote my podcast, to promote my blog posts, my Twitter chat, different things where I feel like there's no expiration date, and it just saves me a lot of time. I don't have to keep manually tweeting these out. And I can do it also for Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest. So it's not in Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Instagram. So it's not just Twitter, but I primarily use it for Twitter. And it is such a lifesaver. It saves me so much time. So it's a great tool.
I have to try that. I have to have a look at that. So the URL for that is
socialjukebox.com.
Oh, yes. And
highly recommend that. There's another one I like called Nuzzle, and it's nuzzle.com, Nuzzle.com. And what this does is you put in your Twitter handle, and it goes and analyzes it, and it will pull top articles your followers are posting. So like for me, I follow a lot of the top social media marketers. So it's looking at what are the top articles they're posting. So if an article is tweeted out maybe 4, 5, 6 times, it gets on the radar with Nuzzle and says, hey, this is a popular article that's being shared. So it's a way for me to kind of wade through all the news of the day and see what are the articles that are really standing out that a lot of people are sharing. And so I can view that every day, and that helps me, number one, give me plenty of information to read up on. I might miss this article when I'm surfing around, but number two might be content I want to go go share on my Twitter. And so they make it easy with integrations to then go put it out either through my Buffer or Hootsuite or however I want to post it. So that's been a really great tool. But here's what's interesting. Everybody thought Twitter was going to buy Nuzzle because it's a really great tool that helps you see what people are talking about. Well, all of a sudden, out of the blue, Twitter now has a feature. If you go into the little magnifying glass, which is the search, and at the top, it'll show the trending hashtags, and then you scroll down and it shows Twitter moments. If you scroll down further, it's now doing what Nuzzle does. It's showing you like top articles in different categories. Okay. So I was just reading an article about this last night saying that it's very similar to Nuzzle, and everybody's surprised they didn't buy Nuzzle, but they also think it's not quite at the level of Nuzzle, that they feel like Nuzzle is still a good standalone tool. So I do like Nuzzle a lot. I use it every day, but it is interesting that Twitter has incorporated this. So when you're on your phone, on the mobile app, you can definitely see this same thing working.
There's some fantastic tools there. And of course, we'll post them in the show notes as well here. I know I was talking earlier on, we were talking about hashtags and stuff like that. I find that we use a lot of the time to find the hashtags is Hashtagify. I found that was a really good, really handy tool to have.
Yes.
With regards to hashtags, a lot of people get confused about how to use them or what's the best way to incorporate them into your tweets or whatever.
So with a hashtag, that's where you have that pound or number sign in front of a word or keywords. Initially, it was designed to be a way to search. So you would put in pound and the word or words, and you did your searches this way. And then over time, Twitter developed it so that you could just type a keyword and you didn't have to do it as a hashtag. I think they did this because they thought new people to Twitter would not quite understand hashtags. That is something that gets brought up a lot with newbies. Like, I don't understand this hashtag and why I do it, how it works. So these days, you don't have to use a hashtag. You could go into the search and just type something. So if you're doing a search, that makes it super easy. So then why would you use a hashtag? There's still certain reasons we would use a hashtag. So I use it for my Twitter chat. So Twitter Smarter for my Twitter chat. My other chat's called Social ROI. When you're hosting or participating in a Twitter chat, it revolves around a hashtag. That's how it works. It's all about the hashtag. So if you typed in Twitter Smarter without the pound sign, it's not going to work for us. We're just looking at it as a hashtag. So that's how that works. Now, sometimes people do a hashtag just for fun. Maybe it's part of the excitement in your tweet. So I might tweet something to somebody and put pound you rock, kind of like a, hey, you rock, but I'm not putting it so that they click on it, because if you click on it, it'll just be other tweets that say pound you rock. I'm doing it more as like an emotion thing. And this was really before emojis and GIFs. Now that we have those, it gives us a way to put emotion into the tweet. But prior to that, you would see people use a hashtag with a funny word or a catchphrase to be attention grabbing. So you don't really see that as much anymore, because now everybody's going crazy with the emojis and GIFs, and it's a fun way to share the emotion that you have. Like there's one that I love to do when I first come on a Twitter chat and I want to say hi to everybody. There's this really funny GIF of Jimmy Fallon saying like, hi. It's like it makes you laugh when you see it. So I'm able to get that emotion in using the GIF, whereas before I would try to come up with a fun hashtag to do it. So hashtags have really changed over the years. So you primarily see it as a Twitter chat, or you'll see it for a conference or an event, because they'll have an official hashtag that they encourage people to use during the event. So you'll see it for that. But these days, you really don't see it used as much for other items.
So it is part of it. As an overall tweet, it's handy to have. It is handy to have in there. Some of the listening to what you're saying really resonates with me and I'm going back to look at my bio now and rejig that and sort of say, right, okay, I know what it is, I know what I need to do and whatever. But some of the information that you've given is so valuable. It really is. We're coming to the end of our show, and as I said, as I always say to all my guests, I could sit here and talk for hours to you, literally hours.
Me too. I love talking about Twitter. I know that sounds kind of nerdy, but I love talking about Twitter. I don't think it's nerdy at all. Not in the slightest. Not in the slightest. Happy to hear that.
Yeah, and I know a lot of our listeners will not find it either the same. But I suppose if you had one big tip that you would say to people when it comes to Twitter, what would it be?
Oh gosh, it's hard to say one, because
or
there's
a number
so
of them, I suppose. Then
tips. There's so many many tips. I'll give out a few because I have some really good ones. So number one, don't be afraid to put yourself out there and tweet. If you're not sharing the information, nobody's going to see, nobody's going to know about you. So don't be afraid to just get out there and start conversations with people and be consistent with your tweeting, because if you tweet when you have time, maybe you have time today, but then maybe you don't have time again until next week. If there's no consistency, then people are not going to remember you. You're not going to stand out. So being consistent, try to tweet a little bit each day. It really goes a long way. And one more tip that I'm sharing a lot these days is use video on Twitter. It is a great way to stand out. I started this initiative a few months ago. I called it Video Reply Day, and I made a hashtag out of it, #Video Reply Day. And I'm encouraging people to take time. I know they can't do it all the time, but take some time that when you're going through your notifications, so let's say that you sent me a tweet, and when I go through my notifications, I see that you tweeted me. When I hit that reply button and I tweet you back, I want to take an extra moment and this is like on my phone, I'm going to hit the video button and point the camera at me and just make a little video and talk. So instead of writing it out, I'll just say, hey, Alan, thank you so much for inviting me to come on your podcast. I'm so thrilled. You're now going to get that emotion and see and get to know me better. You're going to feel like, wow, Madalyn is talking to me through Twitter. So it just opens it up in a whole new way, because Twitter was really designed to be like texting. And we all love texting, but texting can be very impersonal, right? Because we don't see the person that's texting us. So this allows you to let people see you and know you just through a video. So I'm trying to get people to do this. That's my mission. So it's, I think, a good tip to leave with your listeners today.
We'll do that as well. We'll try and push that out as well on all our social media now. We'll really push that as well.
I would love
because
that.
I think that's a brilliant idea, because it really does, it creates empathy as much as anything with whoever's you're friending, or if you mention, and it's I suppose in a sense, if you take it offline, it's common courtesy to sort of say thank you to people. But if you can say it face to face, well, I suppose
Absolutely.
it really it stands out, and it people remember it. Whether it be 2 months ago and say, oh, well, Madalyn, she tweeted me back, but she didn't tweet me, she videoed me back on Twitter, and that's amazing. It does. People do remember. So I definitely I'd advocate that now.
Awesome.
And in fact, that's what we're going to start. We're going to start doing that. I'm going to get all my followers, and I'm going to get all of them to start doing that when they're tweeting. And on the courses that we do, we'll be pushing that out definitely, and we'll say it came from Madalyn Sklar.
I love that. I would love for everybody listening to send me a tweet at Madalyn Sklar and send it as a video. You can still type something, but make me a video saying that you listened to this episode, and let me know what you thought about the episode. What did you find helpful? It's a lot easier to say it than to type it out.
Exactly.
So I would love that. I would love if your listeners would do that.
Brilliant. So how can people get in contact with you? How can they find you? How can they reach
Twitter
you?
is definitely the best way.
That's obviously
at Madalyn Sklar. So that would be the best way. Since I have an unusual name, I can be found everywhere using Madalyn Sklar. Best way, you got Twitter, also MadalynSklar.com through my website. That's another great way to reach me, or you can meet up with me on Facebook. Those are the best ways.
It has been an absolute pleasure and a delight to finally sit down and have, well, I suppose, we are sitting down, I suppose, sitting down having a chat. And it's great. I'm sure our listeners have got just as much and even probably more. It was really a pleasure. So thanks, Madalyn, for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
All
I
right.
appreciate it. I really enjoy it.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, once again, thanks to Madalyn for coming on the show today. Really, really interesting points that she brought up, and some fantastic tips and tricks as well for Twitter. And if you want to find out more about Madalyn, you can log on to her website at madalynsklar.com, and you can also find her on Twitter as well. I've been Alan Hennessy, and this has been the Social Media Talks podcast, the podcast that helps business owners learn more about social media marketing. And if you would like to subscribe to our channel, you can log on to our Mixcloud account and subscribe there. You can also find all of the podcasts available on our website at compassmedia.ie/social media talks podcasts. I thank you for your company, and if you want more information on any of the services that Compass Media provide, please log on to our website at www.compassmedia.ie. So until next time, have a great week, and we'll see you all again next week for more interesting interviews with business owners and social media influencers. Until next time, as I always say, be social. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening.
Social Media Talks podcast is a production from compassmedia.ie.